This lecture will discuss the structure and function of the parts of the human female reproductive system. To start with, we'll look at the side view and just the structures that are in the female reproductive system. And to start with, we'll look at the structures other than the reproductive structures that are in the same area. We have this sac, which is called the bladder, which will hold urine until it leaves the body through the urethra. And located here, we have the pubic bone. And then over here you see the large intestine, which leads to the rectum, and the base of this is the bottom of the rectum to the opening to the outside of the body is the anus. And starting up here with the reproductive structures, this is the fallopian tube or the oviduct, the ovary, which is the female gonad, then the vagina is the opening to the outside of the body from the birth canal. The cervix is the opening to the uterus, a very thick muscular area. And the uterus is this sac here, which is also called the womb. And the endometrium is really where this line is pointing. It's that thick wall of the uterus. If we look at the front view of the reproductive organs and just the reproductive organs, we'll start with the gonad, which is the ovary, and there are two. There is gametogenesis going on there, which is the production of gametes, and the female gamete is going to be ovum or eggs. And one egg will be released each month, and we'll talk about that cycle later. But an egg will be released from one ovary, alternating sides every month, and that will travel through the oviduct or the fallopian tube. If fertilization is going to take place, it would happen in the oviduct. If fertilization does not take place, then the egg just goes through the other organs and is released to the outside of the body. Either way, the egg first has to travel to the uterus, which is this pear-shaped structure here, and the uterus is also called the womb. It will expand as an embryo develops into a fetus. The thick wall of the uterus is the endometrium. If fertilization were to take place in the oviduct, as the egg or the embryo travels to the uterus, we hope that implantation would take place in this thick wall. The endometrium becomes very thick each month with blood vessels, which will carry nutrients such as oxygen to this area to eventually provide those nutrients through the placenta to the developing embryo. If fertilization does not take place, all of this lining in the uterus is shed in the end of the menstrual cycle. Then if fertilization takes place and this fetus is developing, we call this the birth canal. And the opening to the uterus is called the cervix. And this is a thick muscular area, which keeps this area closed off while a fetus is developing. And then the opening to the outside of the body is the vagina.